We finally have snow, huh?
Yeah, we have lots of snow.
All right, let's dive in because
go.
I know your time is extremely valuable. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
So this is going to kind of be fun, right? Because we're starting this new idea of the RizeX Movement podcast. And our very first episode of the month, we're going to roll out and talk about what is the theme for the month that we're going to be focusing on throughout the month. And then as part of our RizeX Mastermind events, as part of our RizeX Connect events, we're going to be talking about that specific topic.
All goes together.
So let's start 2020.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, right?
Yeah.
You said it's the first Friday of the new year.
Isn't that crazy?
Can you believe it's the 3rd already?
No, but I don't think diets are technically starting until the 6th.
Okay, good. I'm okay with that.
Because there was somebody that posted they were in the gym and they were like the only ones in the gym. So I think that's awesome.
Everybody's taking the rest of the week off. Oh, that's awesome. Well, good. So let's dive in. So 2020 for RizeCon, RizeX, the whole theme of the year is the customer journey.
Great. I'm excited.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
I think
so
it's great.
Tyler, my good buddy Tyler, helped me kind of navigate this thought of how can we more effectively build an environment where we teach in our mastermind events the importance of focusing on the internal as well as the external customers.
Yeah.
Do you want to go and tell them that we're recording in here? And if we're talking?
It's kind of loud.
Chad! Chad, we're recording in here. You got to be quiet.
Sorry about that.
That's what happens when you're on Facebook Live. You get all of it right here. Crying out loud.
I know.
Chad's
noisy.
so loud.
We're going to have to post
All right,
be
so
quiet.
let's go back to the customer journey, right?
Yeah,
So 2020 is the
back
year of the customer journey. And I've had so many experiences with so many different businesses that legitimately don't understand what that means.
It's crazy.
You've worked in a couple different businesses.
I have, yes.
Tell me first what your thoughts are about that idea of the customer journey this year.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because I am a nurse of 30 years, and a lot of, when you think about healthcare, there's actually a saying, especially around emergency rooms, and please forgive me, I'm going to say it like it is, but we used to say we're here to save your bleep, not kiss it. But you know what? That doesn't. It actually doesn't work, right? Because you go to an emergency room and you have a crappy experience, and there are other options. And hospitals started learning. We may be losing. We're not the only gig in town, and so we really have to up our customer service. There's a lot of debate around that in the healthcare field because now we feel like we've gone too far the other way. We're so worried about our customer service that it was part of the opioid epidemic. Like I remember walking around being the person that says, I have more drugs than you have pain. And so...
Really?
Well, yeah, that was the way it was all this customer service.
That was the way you navigated it, right?
Absolutely.
You just did, if someone needed more pain meds, you just gave
them more pain medications. So, I feel I was one of those contributors to... not the person pushing opioids, obviously, but it was the culture that we kind of created around this movement of taking care of the customer. So healthcare is an interesting field where we talk about that customer journey. Yes, we have an obligation to give the very best service that we possibly can, but we have to make sure that there are some specific boundaries around how we're doing that.
That's right.
And that we're not, and we do that in our own customer, my husband and I have an automotive repair shop.
Yes.
So
and I want to talk about that.
Okay.
Because the customer experience at that place is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I've been there now, and I'm like, sorry to all my friends who are in automotive, but legit, I love the experience.
Yeah.
From the initial walk-in to the initial, here are the things that I'm going to do through the iPad experience. It's just, the customer experience is set. I probably should put that on airplane mode, but the customer experience has been set so well that it's it's awesome.
That
text messaging to follow-up review to everything.
We try to make
I love
it as easy for the customer experience as possible, but I think you have to go back to that. The customer's always right. So the customer, we do our very best to serve the customer, but there are times where the customer isn't right, and there are customers that are not the right fit for our
That's the key.
Yes.
That's the key. And I think that's where we can even start to navigate into this month theme, right? Is who is the actual customer? And I want to get into that, but let's talk more about that. How many businesses, though, do you and I experience on a day-to-day basis where they have no clue what the customer experience looks like?
Yeah.
They might think about it like, well, what can we do to make this better or that better? But the holistic start to finish touch points becomes even so complex that like the marketing doesn't resonate. And the marketing messages might be different depending on where you see that marketing message, whether it's radio or TV or online or social or digital, whatever that looks like, right? So this year we're going to be navigating that. We're going to be navigating every aspect of offline to online to internal to external. And I just think this year is going to be fantastic when it comes to business connected to RizeX and RizeCon and what we're going to be doing this year.
Well, and Ryan, I can relate to that as a business owner. When you are a new little business owner, mom and pop, just starting out, you're just surviving, right? And you may not really understand what that customer experience even is about.
Yeah.
Oswald Service has taken an evolution. We have not always functioned like we do now.
It's a process.
So yeah, it's a process. And
Yeah.
I think the message that really I hope that we're able to get across in RizeX is that don't lose hope.
That's right.
You got to start somewhere, and there are great tools for you.
Well, and I think so many business owners in today's market think, where do I start?
Yeah.
And they have no
and it's
idea.
Too overwhelming.
It's, oh my gosh. If you talk about the customer
start
experience.
talking to me about digital and all of that kind of, I mean, blah.
I saw your eyes
even
glaze over
know.
like,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I can post, but I don't really understand.
Yeah.
And so it just
Yeah.
feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
I shut down.
Well, so that's the number one thing we're going to focus on, and that's the value of the RizeX group, the RizeX movement we're creating, and also this RizeX podcast, right? Is we have the opportunity to share what we know in a way that businesses can go and execute. So, Renee, I want to just throw a couple little ideas that we've also been discussing this year, right? Last year, 2019, was the beginning of RizeX Mastermind. We did RizeCon in 2018, again in 2019. Have had so much fun with it. We've touched over 500 businesses, like people that have come to an event. But one thing that I'm learning is that like we couldn't really explain who we were. Right? People would ask me all the time, so what is the RizeX movement? What is the RizeX? What is RizeCon? And we were always like, well, it's a personal investment. No, that's not it.
In your growth.
It's a network. No, that's not really.
It?
So we took our team and my amazing team, we sat down actually in this room and we dialogued through what is it that we do. And the RizeX movement is legitimately an organization established to connect driven individuals in the pursuit of building greater communities. Isn't that, it's like beautiful to me.
Yeah. If
Like,
you want to
I love
grow,
that.
here's your platform, your opportunity to learn, connect, all of those things.
And you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to be a CEO. You don't have to be a VP level. We're talking people that are driven.
Yeah.
Because what's magical, and I think the energy, and maybe you can explain some of this, but some of the energy that we're seeing in the room is we're seeing people that have that same motivation, desire to become successful, that are coming and they're like, whoa, like what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, it feels, sometimes we really tap into that true mastermind of where you're sitting around a table with 5 other individuals, and you've got, 2 hours of being able to just glean from them and learn. There's nothing like that. It's just nice to be able to be, whether it's RizeX or other type of mastermind, the mastermind principle allows you to have all that brain power that otherwise I couldn't afford.
Yeah.
Sitting all at the same
Well,
table.
and it's experience too, right? That's the thing that I love. The beautiful thing about the mastermind events is you can go and pay thousands of dollars to have one person that has one dimensional, perspective that doesn't have a ton of experience in 10 different types that can coach you, and there's a place for those.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're fantastic and they do a great job. As a matter of fact, we have one, right? There's also the other opportunity of that is now you have 5 or 6 people sitting around a table that have different experiences that can shed a different perspective, and then you can go and work with a coach like yourself to say, okay, now I have all these perspectives. How do I implement from an accountability perspective, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many amazing things that come, and the energy is fantastic, and I'm really excited for what 2020 is bringing. This is the year that we expand a little bit. This is the year that we kind of move out from where we are. And in terms of the RizeX podcast, what we're going to be doing here, we're going to have four episodes each month. The first episode is going to be a conversation just like this.
Great.
It's going to be fun.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the theme, right? We're going to talk about what are we talking about this month? What are we going to be focusing on? Because we want the VIP members, everyone that touches the event, to know exactly what's coming, to know what the experience is going to look like. And just like the customer experience we're talking about, we haven't done a great job. We've done a good job. We haven't done a great job of our own customer experience. We've received feedback, right? You've told me your feedback with something. So excited to make those changes.
It's mostly great.
It's and then the second week we're actually going to be sharing your podcast, the East Idaho podcast, a
East
story.
Idaho Entrepreneurs.
East Idaho Entrepreneurs podcast, a podcast from amazing entrepreneurs from all across the region that have awesome
small,
stories.
big, like great stories.
It's awesome, and they will correlate with the topic at hand. The third week we're actually going to pull some feedback from our RizeX Mastermind events of what people learned and what they're going to do in their business. That's going to be crazy cool. And then our last one, we're gonna bring to you some cool stuff from our RizeCon events. It's only accessible to our VIP members, and we're gonna open it up to the greater public.
Hey, I know of one speaker that was at RizeCon.
Amazing. Yours will be there, I guarantee
yes,
it, because
good.
of all the great feedback that you've received
good.
from
Well,
it.
I paid a lot of people off.
Love it. So let's go back.
Okay.
I want to take a step back and I want to go into the customer journey. In the first month, we're going to have my good buddy James Zolman speaking with us. And listen, this guy is a rock star. So James Zolman, kind of a backstory, he taught me the customer journey. Like, he's an amazing mentor, a younger guy. He's made a significant amount of money online, leveraging digital marketing to do so. And the number one thing he taught me, he said, Ryan, you have to understand who your target demographic is, who they are, what their passions are, what their pain points are, what their, all sorts of different things inside of that target demographic. And I'm excited to listen to him next week because now that I'm 7 years removed from that initial conversation, now I'm really ready to soak it in and really understand that. So tell me, your businesses that you've run, you've been a part of in the nursing world, how important really is it to know your target? Who it is that you want to get your message out in front of?
Well, I think we waste a lot of time when we just chase whatever we think is out there. And so really being able to narrow down and talk to the individuals who could be your potential customers saves us dollars and time and energy and all that stuff that gets so overwhelming. I think in working, especially, our business has been working with Arcane around social, and your team has helped me really kind of understand who's looking at us, and who, and it's caused me to have to look at our statistics a little bit better around who is our customer, because I want to say it's everyone with a car, but it isn't everyone with a car. It's not.
Well, you said earlier that there are some people that just aren't the right fit.
Absolutely.
Right? So understanding that in a business is so key. Because you're right, I think our mind shifts back to, I love this game of psychology, right? Our mind has shifted back for so many years in this world of traditional media, where it was legitimately like a shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Like, let me throw it up on a billboard.
Whoever
will come, and the message is the same, and it doesn't matter. But now we're going with artificial intelligence, all the way from initial touch point all the way down. We can start to see from a data perspective who is engaging the most, so it helps us fine-tune that a little bit more.
Well, they want a relationship with us.
That's right.
We had a great year this year because we were we were able to celebrate our 80th anniversary for Oswald Service. And so we were able to do some really specific connection with our customers, and it was so fun. And they wanted that connection with us. Yeah. Different than where we've been 10 years ago.
So as a business owner, the number one thing we have to understand first and foremost is who is the target demographic, and that's what we're going to share this month. Great. So it's going to be a killer month this month. I'm really excited. There's so many things to know and learn. Like this,
we won't be able to learn it all in a month.
We won't be able to learn it all in a month. As a matter of fact, it's taken years to figure that out, right?
We have time.
Well, hopefully. Today is a kind of a unique day, and I'll share with you. Today is the day 22 years ago my wife lost her dad. And you can't, when you have an experience like that in your life, I didn't know my wife at the time, but when you have an experience like that in your life.
She must have been young.
She was 17. Yeah. She was the oldest.
Yeah.
And as you have that experience, it just really helps you reflect that maybe you don't have time, and you just try to appreciate and cherish every moment. And I think that's the reason why we've connected so well, right? Is I love you, and I'm grateful for everything that you bring to the table. Excited to co-host some of this stuff with us and involve you because you're a rock star influencer in this community. love what you're doing, love following what you're doing, and excited to have you kind of share this crazy part of our journey together. So
it's a privilege for me, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to serve.
It's going to be fun. Okay. All right, RizeX Mastermind friends, we'll see you this month. Come check into one of our events. January the 8th is our first event. January 15th is our RizeX Connect event.
Yeah.
And we'll bring this same type of content every month to you before we launch a new month. So here's to an amazing January.
All right. 2020.